Today I brought explanation of the chapter Indigo by Louis Fisher. So I'll be sharing the mind map, and it is going to be a mind map with detailed flashcards so that your question answers, they are prepared side by side, and it serves as quick revision notes for you. Now, in this chapter, the Champaran movement has been discussed, and it paved a way to self-reliance, Indian independence, and of course, help to sharecroppers. So all these things, they were bound together in Champaran movement. Now, the target, of course, is board exams. And for targeting the board exam, you need preparation. And for preparation, it is a must that you use some reference book. And OSWAAL Books, CBSE Question Bank, it is a very good reference book. It can serve as a good reference book. Once you revise the chapter from here, it will be really a good practice for you if you go and revise the chapter from this book. Now, link to buy this book I have shared in the description box, so you go there and buy this book. Now let's move on. So here the previous giveaway. So I have got overwhelming participation for this giveaway, and my thanks to all the students who shared my video. And I have selected these 3 students, and I've sent the book, and one of them has already received the book. So it is really amazing, and it is very satisfying when I hear such comments from you. So I would like you to like this video also, and do write to me that what next do you want and how did you like this video. So now let's get started. Now here you can see this is the mind map. So you can take a screenshot because this will serve as a quick revision. I will be now sharing flashcards one by one. For each point there is a detailed flashcard so that your questions are prepared. So since I have marked 33 points here, so these are actually 33 questions. So it means that your whole chapter is going to be prepared. Now, if you see the pictures, so here this first picture, it shows Gandhiji arriving at the Champaran station in the train. The second picture shows the planters. They are doing indigo farming, and the third picture is about the support that the peasants and the sharecroppers they gave to Gandhiji. So let's discuss now. Indigo, it is a biographical excerpt written by Louis Fisher. The abbreviations that I have used in the mind map, RKS, it stands for Rajkumar Shukla, G stands for Gandhi, double L, it is for landlord, SC is for sharecroppers, CH is for CH, it is for Champaran, and MZR, it is for Muzaffarpur. So now let me change it to the laser point. Yes, now let's begin. So now in the beginning, we come to know that Rajkumar Shukla, he goes to meet Gandhi at the annual convention of the Indian National Congress Party in Lucknow. So Gandhiji is there to attend the convention, and Rajkumar Shukla, he goes there because he wants to seek help from Gandhiji. So he asked Gandhiji to come with him to Champaran. Now this is the reason, detailed reason. So according to an ancient arrangement, the peasants of Champaran, they were sharecroppers. Rajkumar Shukla was one among them. So he was there to seek Gandhi's help against the injustice meted out to them by the landlord system in Bihar. So he was there to seek Gandhi's help against the injustice that was meted out to them by the landlords in Bihar. So now Gandhi, he was a busy man, so he had appointments at different places, and Rajkumar Shukla, he accompanied him everywhere. So he was hell-bent to take Gandhiji along with him. He did not go back without him, so he accompanied him everywhere. Now Gandhi was very impressed with his tenacity. So then he told him that, okay, on this and this date, I'll be in Calcutta, so you come there and take me from there. And Rajkumar Shukla, he reached Calcutta on the said date, and he took Gandhi with him to Bihar by train. So this is the picture. So by train, they have reached Bihar. So Shukla took Gandhiji to a lawyer. Now in Bihar, he took him to Rajendra Prasad, lawyer. Rajendra Prasad at that time, he was not at home. And servants who already knew Shukla as a peasant, because he has been going to Rajendra Prasad because he was a lawyer to help him in the case. So the servants of Rajendra Prasad, he knew Shukla, and so they knew that he was an untouchable. He was not allowed to enter, and they thought that Gandhiji was also one of them. So Gandhiji was not permitted to draw water from the well, lest some drops from his bucket pollute the entire source. So they could not, obviously they didn't know Gandhi before. Now from Patna, he first went to Muzaffarpur to gather complete information. So now Gandhiji, he was not satisfied with amount of information that Rajkumar Shukla had given. So he wanted to collect detailed information. So he decided that first he would go to Muzaffarpur to gather complete information. So he sent a telegram to Professor J.B. Kriplani, whom he had met at Tagore's Shantiniketan school. So there he stayed at the home of Professor Malkani. So once in Muzaffarpur, he stayed at the home of Professor Malkani. He was a government school teacher, and it was an extraordinary thing in those days for a government professor to give shelter to a man who was an advocate of home rule. So this was a very extraordinary thing, because people, they were afraid of Britishers, and anyone who was in government service was, because he was in government service, was afraid that they would be thrown out of the job if Britishers came to know that they have sheltered someone who is a nationalist. But even then, excuse me, but even then, Professor Malkani gave shelter to Gandhiji. So people, they were afraid to show sympathy to such people, but Professor Malkani was different. So Gandhiji stayed with him. Then after that, what happened? Gandhi's purpose of visit spread like fire, and sharecroppers from Champaran reached Muzaffarpur to see their champion. So this news, it spread like fire that someone is there to help for their cause. So people, all the sharecroppers from Champaran who were like facing this injustice, so they came to Muzaffarpur to see their champion. So Muzaffarpur lawyers, they met Gandhi. They represented peasants in courts. So those lawyers who were representing these peasants in courts, they met Gandhiji, and they told him about their cases, and also they told about the fee that they charge. So Gandhi was very upset, and Gandhi said that you are charging such big fee from these poor sharecroppers, said that they should actually stop going to courts because it did no good. Where peasants, they are so crushed and fear stricken, law courts are useless. So Gandhi said that actually it is no use going to these courts, because the poor peasants, they are so fear stricken, they are so crushed that law courts are not going to help him in any way. So the real relief for them would be to be free from this fear. So this is what Gandhi felt. So now, what was the ancient arrangement with sharecroppers? So now, what was all this arrangement? What was this injustice? So most of the arable land in Champaran, it was owned by Englishmen. It was worked by Indian tenants. So land belonged to the English, belonged to the Britishers, and Indian workers, they were working on that land as tenants. So tenants like kiraidars. So the chief commercial crop, it was indigo. Now landlords, they compelled all tenants to plant 3/20 or 15% of their holdings with indigo. So they said that you will be planting 15% of indigo on this land, and whatever produce you get from this 15%, you will be giving it to us as rent. So surrender the entire indigo harvest as rent. So this was done by long-term contract. So it was being done since ages. So it was long contract, and this was the injustice that the sharecroppers, they were facing. So now the landlords, they tricked sharecroppers as they came to know that Germany had developed synthetic indigo. So now once synthetic indigo, it was developed, so obviously the natural indigo, the price was going to go down. So thus the price of the indigo was going to fall in the market. Thereupon, they made an arrangement with the sharecroppers to pay them compensation for releasing them from this 15% arrangement. So again, they were crushed. So now the landlords, they said that, okay, now since you are not going to grow indigo for us, so pay a compensation so that we can release you from this 15% arrangement. So illiterate sharecroppers, they were taken in. So now sharecroppers, they were previously, this arrangement, it was irksome for them. They did not want any kind of uh, arrangement with the Britishers. So many of them, they signed this. And then what happened? The sharecroppers, they were not happy. So it was irksome to them. So many signed this arrangement willingly. But a few resisted, and they employed lawyers, and landlords, they hired thugs. So those who resisted and they wanted to go to the court. So landlords, they hired thugs, and they wanted to use forceful means on them to sign the contract. But meanwhile, the information about the synthetic indigo reached the illiterate peasants also, who had signed, who had already signed, and now they wanted their money back. So under all these conditions, so when all this was going on, this was the time, this was the juncture when Gandhi reached Champaran. So it was a very crucial moment. And then the strive for justice began. So first, Gandhiji visited the secretary of the British Landlords Association to get the facts. So you remember this in order? So where he went first? So first to the Association of Landlords. The secretary told him that they could give no information to the outsider, but Gandhiji said that I am no outsider. So Gandhiji wanted to do everything according to the law. Therefore, first he started to go to the officers and ask them that what is the problem, what is the case, and how it could be solved. So first he went to British Landlords Association, but from there he did not get any help. Then second, Gandhi met British official commissioner of Tirhut division, in which Champaran district was also included. So second he went there. Now the commissioner was again of no help. Rather he bullied Gandhi and advised him to leave Tirhut immediately. But Gandhi did not leave. Then Gandhi proceeded to Motihari, the capital of Champaran. So several lawyers also accompanied him there. He furthered his investigations there. The news reached him that a peasant had been maltreated in the nearby village and Gandhiji wanted to visit him. So he proceeded on the back of an elephant, but then he was stopped in between by the messenger of the police superintendent who asked him to return to town in his carriage. So he said that Gandhiji return to your cottage and come with me in my carriage. So Gandhi complied. So when he reached back home, he was served with an official notice to quit Champaran immediately. So what Gandhi did, he signed that notice, but he wrote on it that he is going to disobey the order. So he received the order, received the summons, but then he said that he was not going to obey. So Gandhi received summons to appear in the court the next day. So next day he was, all night what happened then? He received, when he said that he was not going to comply with the orders, so he received summons next day. And all night he was awake. He telegraphed Rajendra Prasad to come to Bihar with influential friends. He sent instructions to the ashram and wired full report to the viceroy. So now he was getting things ready for the next morning. So he called for Rajendra Prasad to come with his other influential lawyers. So then the next morning, it was the show of support and trust. So outside the courthouse, there were many, many poor peasants who were standing there as a support to Gandhiji. So next morning, Moti Hari was crowded with peasants. It was black with peasants, means crowded. But these people, these poor peasants, they did not know about Gandhi's past record in South Africa. But they had heard that a Mahatma who wanted to help them was in trouble with the authorities. So their spontaneous demonstration in thousands in front of the courthouse was the beginning of their liberation from fear of British. So this is very important. So as they had collected there in thousands in front of the courthouse, it was actually a beginning of their liberation. They were now going to witness that before them, before the crowd, the Britishers, they will not have any power. So they were standing there and it was the beginning of their liberation. So powerless British officials. Now the officials, they felt powerless without Gandhi's cooperation. So it was becoming difficult for them to manage such a crowd. So they wanted Gandhi to cooperate. So Gandhi cooperated. He was polite, but he gave a concrete proof that their might, hitherto dreaded and unquestioned, could be challenged by Indians. So he, at that point, proved this, that their might, that means they can be very powerful as they can think of, but and but they can be challenged by Indians. So the government was baffled. The prosecutor requested the judge to postpone the trial. Now, since they did not have any answers at that time, so the prosecutor said that postpone the trial so that they can think of something, they can talk to the authorities, they can consult the superiors. But Gandhiji did not want that. So what Gandhi did, he pleaded guilty. So he didn't want any delay, so he pleaded guilty. And he said that, yes, I was involved in conflict of duties. Now, what conflict of duties he's talking about? Again, this is important. So he said that on one hand, it was not to set a bad example as a lawbreaker, and on the other hand, to render the humanitarian and national service for which he was there. So he said that on one hand, I did not want to set a bad example in front of my people that I am a lawbreaker. by signing and writing on the report that I will not obey. So he said that I did not want to do that to set a bad example. But then on the other side, I I am here to render humanitarian and national service to my people. So he said that it is actually conflict of duties. So he disregarded the order to leave. He says that not for the want of respect of lawful authority. So he says that I disregarded the order not because I don't want to obey the law, but in obedience to the higher law of our being. But he said that I did that because of obedience to a higher law. So what is that higher law? It is humanity. He says that the voice of conscience. So he asked the penalty due. So he said that because there is a conflict of duties on my part, so therefore whatever is the penalty, he says that I seek that penalty. So whatever is the penalty, you can give me the punishment. So Gandhi emerged triumphant. So after this, the Britishers, the authorities, they did not have anything to say. So magistrate was in a fix. He said that he would pronounce the sentence after 2 hour recess. So meanwhile, Gandhi was asked to furnish bail for those 120 minutes for that 2 hour recess or break time. So he was asked to give a bail, but Gandhi refused. And then he was released without it. Now, when the courts they reconvened, the judge said that he would rather deliver the judgment. He would not deliver the judgment for several days because they did not have anything to say. So meanwhile, he then allowed Gandhi to remain at liberty. So he emerged triumphant, but still justice was not achieved. So anticipatory preparations then were made after that. So why anticipatory preparations? Because then it was thought that the case has yet not been dismissed. So many prominent lawyers that arrived from Bihar, including Rajendra Prasad, Brij Kishore Babu, Maulana Mazrul Haq, a meeting was held to deliberate upon the situation. So Gandhi asked them that what they would do if he was sent to prison. A senior lawyer said that they were there to advise him. So if he was sent to jail, then there would be no one to advise, and so they would go home. So Gandhi, he was a little upset at this reply. So Gandhiji then touched the right chord. So Gandhi then asked the lawyers that, okay, so if I go to prison, you will go home. Then what about the injustice to the sharecroppers? So the lawyers, they consulted among themselves. So according to Rajendra Prasad, they consulted that Gandhi, being a stranger, he was ready to go to jail for the sake of these sharecroppers. And we, being not only being the residents of the adjoining districts, but also who claimed that we were there to serve these peasants and we wanted to go home. So it would be a shameful desertion for them. So it was the shameful desertion means running away in between, leaving them. So Rajendra Prasad said that we consulted that it was going to be a very shameful act on our part. So they told Gandhi that they would follow him into jail. So now Gandhi he exclaimed that the battle of Champaran is won. So he said that when inside you you've got this feeling of oneness, so the actual battle has already been won. Now then Gandhi divided the group into pairs and put down them in an order to court arrest. So he said that like two of you, they would come after a day after I am sent to prison. Then next group, it will come maybe after 2 days. So like this, he decided the order. So now these preparations, they were made. Gandhi touched the right chord, and after that, after several days, they received a written communication from the magistrate informing them that the lieutenant governor of the province had ordered the case to be dropped. So civil disobedience had triumphed for the first time in modern India. And here Gandhiji, he felt that now my people, they are ready to fight for the struggle of independence. So civil disobedience from here, from Champaran movement, it became a major tool in the Indian independence. So justice, but it was still awaited. So Gandhi and lawyers they started a far-flung inquiry into the grievances of the farmers. Now, although the case was dropped, but Gandhi did not stop there because the sharecroppers they had not received justice yet. So he started an inquiry. So depositions about 10,000 peasants were written down. So the peasants they came, they told about that what ever they were suffering. So it was all noted down, notes were made, evidences were collected. So documents they were collected, investigation was on full swing. Amidst this, the landlords protested. So when landlords they saw that inquiry was being done, documents were collected, so obviously they became afraid and they protested. So then, when the protest was going on, it was in June that Gandhi was summoned to Sir Edward Gate, the Lieutenant Governor. So he was called, and before going, he again consulted his associates and he chalked down detailed plan in case he did not return. So before going again, he made a plan that in case he does not return, then what should be done. Now, after 4 meetings with the Lieutenant Governor, an official commission of inquiry into the Indigo sharecropper situation was appointed. So, after many talks with the governor, with the Lieutenant Governor, a commission was set up. And this commission consisted of landlords, government officials, and Gandhi was the sole representative of the peasants. So, a commission was set up to see into the matter of the sharecroppers. So Gandhi's visit here to Champaran, which was initially maybe Gandhi had thought it would be a brief visit, it actually took a year of his life. So Gandhi's visit, thought to be brief, almost took a year of his life. He was in Champaran for an uninterrupted period of 7 months initially, and then again several short visits. A casual entreaty by an illiterate farmer became a fight for justice. So this is how it converted into a fight for justice. Now the report of inquiry came. So a crushing mountain of evidence it was presented before the commission. There was clear evidence against the big planters. The commission had no choice but to make refunds to the peasants. So it was proved that injustice was being done, and the commission said that refund should be made to the peasants. Now the question was how much refund? So then again there was a deadlock now, that how much refund. Both sides had to agree on some amount. So, how this deadlock was broken? The commission thought Gandhi would demand full repayment, which landlords and planters had illegally and deceitfully extorted from the sharecroppers. But Gandhi only asked for 15%, as it is reported by J.Z. Hodge, a British missionary in Champaran who was observing all this episode at a close range. Now, thinking probably that he would not give way, the representative of the planters offered to refund to the extent of 25%. Now, the representative from the side of the planters, from the side of the Britishers, he thought that Gandhi is not going to agree to anything less than 15%. So let's try and say 25%. So he offered 25%, and to his amazement, Mr. Gandhi, he took at his word and thus breaking the deadlock. So Gandhi agreed to 25%, and like this, deadlock was broken. Now, why Gandhi agreed to it, that is again important. So, more than money, prestige was surrendered. So, this is what Gandhiji believed. He said that it wasn't the money that was important. It was what was important was that they had to bow their heads. So the settlement was unanimously adopted by the commission. Gandhi explained that the amount of refund was less important than the fact that the landlords had been obliged to surrender part of the money and with it part of their prestige. So therefore, as far as the peasants were concerned, the planters had behaved as lords above the law. So he says that as far as peasants are concerned, so before this, the planters, they had behaved as lords. They were above law. But now they have to pay the refund. But now the peasants saw that he had rights and defenders. Now peasants also saw that no, if they come together and if they fight for a just cause, they can also win. So the peasant learned courage. So that was important, and this is what Gandhiji actually wanted. So now Gandhi's point was justified. So Gandhi's these events they justified Gandhi's position. Within a few years, British planters they abandoned their estates, which reverted to the peasants. So their estates they were given back to the peasants. Indigo sharecropping completely disappeared. So then after that, socio-cultural development. Now, along with political and economic emancipation, social and cultural development was also important. So Gandhiji was there for all that time. He did not only care about the justice that he had to give to these peasants, but he also took notice of the social and cultural backwardness there. So Gandhi observed that cultural and social backwardness of Champaran village and wanted to do something about it immediately. So he appealed for teachers, Mahadev Desai and Nahari Parekh, two young men who had just joined Gandhi as disciples, and their wives volunteered for the work. So several more came from Bombay, Pune, and other distant parts of the land. So as he gave a call, so many people they came forward to help. Then the health Devadas, Gandhi's youngest son. So even Gandhi's family also arrived there. They arrived from the ashram and so did Mrs. Gandhi. Primary schools they were opened in 6 villages. Kasturbai taught the ashram rules on personal cleanliness and community sanitation. So all this was also important. It was important that the people they were uplifted socially as well as culturally. So this is also an important question. The state of women, sorry, health conditions first, we'll talk about those. So health conditions, they were miserable. Gandhi got a doctor to volunteer his services for 6 months. So only three medicines were available there: castor oil, quinine, and sulfur ointment. Anybody who showed a coated tongue was given a dose of castor oil. Anybody with malaria fever received quinine plus castor oil, and anybody with skin eruptions received ointment plus castor oil. So this was the treatment that was given to the people there. And the condition, the state of women was also miserable. Gandhi noticed the filthy state of women's clothes. He asked Kasturbai to talk to them about it. And one woman took Kasturbai into her hut and said that, look, there's no box or cupboard here for clothes. And the sari I am wearing, it is the only one I have. So it was really, really miserable condition. Now, Gandhi kept a long distance watch on ashram from there. So all that time, it wasn't that Gandhi had secluded his ashram or he was not taking care of his ashram. So during his long stay in Champaran, Gandhi kept a long distance watch on the ashram. He sent regular instructions by mail and asked for financial accounts. Once he wrote to the residents that it was time to fill in the old latrine trenches and dig new ones, otherwise the old ones would begin to smell bad. So this is just an example that how he was keeping up with all the things. Then Champaran episode it actually served as a turning point in his life. What I did, Gandhi explained that it was a moment. It was a very ordinary thing. I declared that the British could not order me about in my own country. So he said that I just made it clear to the Britishers that you cannot order me in my own country. So it served as a turning point because here the people they realized that they can even fight against Britishers. Then they realized that they can stand on their own feet. And civil disobedience that had really become successful here, Gandhi felt that this could be used as a major tool in India's struggle for independence. So therefore, it was a turning point. Now it was a typical Gandhi pattern. The Champaran did not begin as an act of defiance. It was just not an act of defiance. Gandhi's aim was not to go against the law. It grew out of an attempt to alleviate the distress of large number of poor peasants. So what was it? It was actually to help poor people. So his politics were intertwined with the practical day-to-day problems of the millions. So Gandhi, he did not only look at one side. His all his politics it was intertwined with the practical problems. So his was not the loyalty to abstractions, it was a loyalty to living human beings. So this is important. It means that his work pattern it was not just based on ideas or thoughts, it was real. So for him freedom was not just, he wanted actually freedom and not just political freedom, but he wanted his people, he wanted to mold new free Indians who could stand on his own feet and thus make India free. So this is what his pattern was. Now he taught the lesson in self-reliance. So early in the Champaran action, Charles Ferrer Andrews, the English pacifist who had become a devoted follower of Mahatma, came to bid Gandhi farewell before going on the tour of duty to Fiji Island. So this is one example that shows that how Gandhi taught his people self-reliance. So this Britisher, he came to meet Gandhi to bid him goodbye before going to Fiji Islands. Now, Gandhi's lawyer friends thought that it would be a good idea for Andrews to stay in Champaran and help them. So the lawyers they felt that since he's a Britisher, so it would be a very good idea if he was on their side because they'll be some weight on their side also then. So Andrew was willing if Gandhi agreed, but Gandhi was vehemently opposed. He said, you think that this is unequal fight and it would be helpful if we have an Englishman on our side? So this shows the weakness of your heart. The cause is just and you must rely on yourselves to win the battle. You should not seek a prop in Mr. Andrews because he happens to be an Englishman. So Gandhi was upset and he scolded them that if you believe that you cannot win because you are unequal, you cannot fight Britishers, then he said that this is not a good idea. So we should not be actually using Mr. Andrew as a prop, but we should rely on ourselves. So he had read our minds correctly, Rajendra Prasad commented. So Rajendra Prasad, he said that Gandhi had actually understood what we meant. And we had no reply to what Gandhiji said. So he said that in this way, he taught us a lesson in self-reliance. So this is the chapter and all the important things I have discussed. Now here, all these 33 points actually serve as 33 questions. So I hope that it is clear since it is a lengthy chapter, so it might have taken time, but now after revising from here, go and revise from that book. OSWAAL Books Question Bank and this chapter will be completely covered. So I hope that there is no problem, and after this I'll be coming up with another chapter. If you want a mind map of any other chapter, do write in the comment box and I will be coming up with that. Now you can see here in the OSWAAL books what you are going to get in the question bank. So these are the objective type questions here, assertion, reasoning, competency based questions, and you also have subjective questions. Almost 40 subjective questions are there, and it will serve as a complete preparation for you. So I will recommend this book. You can buy it from the link. The link is given in the description box. And subscribe to the channel. Don't forget it and do like it. And write in the comment box how have you liked this video. So do like it and bye for now and happy preparation.